Have you ever seen a pearl earring as big as this one? Or if you know a little bit of history, have you seen any other portrait of a Dutch woman dressed this way? Probably not, because what this painting portrays never existed in real life. Boom! What? It goes something like this. Wait, before you get angry with the painter for lying to your face, I will ask you not to plan to go to the Mauritshuis Museum to try to stick your head on the painting, just to have a little sense of justice. Agreed? You aren't understanding anything. Am I right? Alright, come with me and let's learn the truth behind Girl with a Pearl Earring. Let's get it started. I'll tell you everything. Girl with a Pearl Earring is the most famous work by the Dutch painter Johannes Vermeer. It looks like a portrait, but not really. This is actually a tronie, a painting of an imaginary figure. Aha! We get the lie right away. But what do I mean by an imaginary figure, you might be wondering? A tronie portrays a type of character. In Vermeer's painting, the character is a girl wearing an exotic dress, an oriental turban, and a pearl earring too big to be real. And he wasn't the only one who enjoyed the tronie style. There was another artist who was already known for this type of lie. It's Rembrandt. He popularized the tronies in Dutch art around 1630 and painted dozens of them. So if Vermeer is such a liar, could it be then that this pearl is a lie too? I mean, look at the size of it. It's unbelievable. Well, it's possibly an imitation, not a real one. The pearl was also painted in a very simple way. He only used 2 strokes of white paint, one on the lower part that reflects the collar of the exotic dress, and a thicker stroke on the upper part. He didn't even bother to paint the hook of the earring. How was it attached to the girl's ear? It's a mystery. Other very interesting things that are possible to notice are the softness of the girl's face, the fascinating shine on her lips, and the lustrous pearl. These are 3 impressive points of this work, which show how Vermeer was a master of light technique. Let's now take a deeper look into Girl with a Pearl Earring. Are you ready? Here we see a young woman looking over her shoulder at us, her head tilted slightly to the side. Her eyes have a grayish-blue glow and her mouth is slightly ajar, looking moist. On her head, she wears a turban made of 2 types of fabric, one blue and the other yellow. In her ear, we see an oversized pearl earring, which gives the painting its title. Pay attention to the pearl. It seems too big to be real, right? Maybe what the girl is wearing is a pearl drop made of glass. Or the whole thing, maybe, came from Vermeer's imagination. Simple as that. He imagined a big pearl and he did it without any particular reason. We don't have the real answer, but what we all know is that at that time, between 1650 and 1680, pearls were a trend, both real and fake pearls. You can even find them in the paintings of other artists, such as Frans van Mieris, Gabriel Metsu, and Gerard ter Borch. Vermeer was very fond of painting pearls, and they appear in 18 of his 36 known works. He was amazingly talented at painting them, using a few perfectly placed brushstrokes. In this painting, Vermeer gives us a clear sample of his painting techniques. The girl's face is shaped smoothly, without great detail, but with gradual transitions and invisible brushstrokes. The clothes are represented in a different way, made with small dots of paint to give a touch of reflected light. It's also fascinating to see that the artist was able to differentiate the material of each fabric in the girl's outfit. For example, the white collar is painted in impasto, while the turban fabric was painted with a drier paint using ultramarine pigment. Talking about ultramarine, it was a pigment that Vermeer liked to use in his paintings when he wanted to use the blue color. This is a very rare pigment, made from a bright blue mineral called lazurite, from the semi-precious lapis lazuli stone, originating from Afghanistan. Ultramarine was also quite expensive, even more so than gold. How could Vermeer afford this if he wasn't rich? Nobody knows, but it's present in almost all of his paintings. Now, what else does Girl with a Pearl Earring depict that doesn't exist? If this girl were alive nowadays, I think this painting might look something like this. Let me know your guess in the comments. As we mentioned before, this is a tronie. Dutch girls of the 17th century didn't wear turbans like that or dresses like this one. By putting those clothes on his tronie, Vermeer gives her an almost oriental and original touch. Now I think it's a good time to talk about Johannes Vermeer. He wasn't a real liar, but a creative painter and quite a perfectionist. Vermeer was one of the most famous Dutch painters of the 17th century. He is mainly known for his paintings depicting domestic and intimate scenes, using his fascinating light technique. He used to create a calm and timeless atmosphere in his works, as in Girl with a Pearl Earring and in The View from Delft. Delft, by the way, is the name of the city where the artist was born and lived all his life. The artist used to spend a lot of time working on each painting, so some of them were never even finished. Only 36 of his works are known to the public. The reason? Well, he used to paint everything very precisely, even the shadows, and this is what made him take a long time to finish his pieces. If you want to notice these details, you have to look at the paintings for a long time. Besides being a painter, Vermeer was also a dealer and an art valuer. Vermeer's works depict calm, relaxing scenes, giving the impression that time could stand still for a few moments while you look at them. His characters also give the impression that they were always thinking deeply, which may reflect the reaction of the people while seeing his works. There is a notable difference in Vermeer's artistic timeline. In the beginning, his works were larger, with a stronger light and shadow contrast, but the calm and intimate atmosphere was always somehow present. Vermeer's domestic scenes were quite famous, and they used to depict one or more figures, mostly women, doing ordinary, everyday things, such as reading a book, playing music, serving milk, and other things. I bet that if it were nowadays, Vermeer would paint us watching a video on YouTube. Girl with a Pearl Earring is one of his works that came to public attention, but only in 1881, almost 220 years later than its date of painting. The painting was put up for auction at the Venduhuis de Notarissen in The Hague, and on the day of its exhibition, it caught the eye of Victor de Stuurs, an influential cultural official. De Stuurs was his friend and neighbor, the art collector A.A. de Tombe. The painting was in a precarious condition, neglected and dirty, but still, de Stuurs recognized it as a Vermeer. Both were interested in the painting, but in the end, it went to de Tombe, who bought it for a very low price. In his collection, de Tombe had contemporary works and old masters' works, and it was open to visitors at his home in The Hague. At the time, the feature director of the Mauritshuis, Abraham Bredius, was the first to talk about the virtues of Girl with a Pearl Earring. According to Bredius, the brilliance of Vermeer showed in the painting overshadows any other work. After de Tombe's death, Girl with a Pearl Earring was bequeathed to the Mauritshuis, along with 12 other paintings. Now let's bring the subject up to date. Recently, we are seeing cases of protests in museums and art galleries, where activists target paintings to draw attention to climate issues. Their message comes through a provocative question. How do you feel when you see something precious being destroyed in front of you? Recently, Girl with a Pearl Earring turned out to be another of the paintings targeted by climate activists. The painting is still in the Mauritshuis, where 3 activists gathered for a protest. One of them tried to glue his head on the painting, while the other 2 spread tomato soup on him. As the painting is protected by glass, it didn't suffer any damage, and the museum guaranteed that they protect all of the works with high security. So, what did you think of Girl with a Pearl Earring? Impressive details, isn't it? Look, I bet everyone would like to have an earring as beautiful and unrealistically large as this one. At least, I do. And I also wish I had the money to pay for such a high price for ultramarine. It's such a beautiful color. Too bad Vermeer can't tell us the secret of how he got that kind of money. Anyway, if you liked today's video, please don't forget to leave your like. It's very important. And of course, please subscribe to our channel and activate the notifications to stay informed about the next videos. See you next time!